Joining me now on KJ Today, your place for the positive vibes of pop culture, people to know, and pets, is definitely someone that you know and should know. Chris Myers with Fox Sports and a very long career in covering all of the major sports you could ever imagine, is joining us here in Indianapolis, not only to talk sports today, but to talk his new book, That Deserves a Wow, Untold Stories of Legends and Champions, Their Wins and Heartbreaks. Chris Myers, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure, KJ. Thanks for having me on.
Well, listen, normally we are talking about Marvel or Star Wars or Harry Potter or cats. We talk about my 7 cats a lot, but today we're talking about you. And the reason I brought you here today, Chris, is because along with all that weird stuff, I am one of those diehard cheeseheads from Wisconsin. I am an owner in the Green Bay Packers, and I'm also in the heart of Indianapolis, which is such a mecca for sports. So, does any of that strike you as like, man, I got to talk to this girl about that?
Well, no, it's interesting because there are Packer fans all over, and I run into them when I'm traveling. And I know in Indianapolis, it's a great sports city, and the Colts, going back to the Peyton Manning years, obviously there's a lot of diehard Colts fans there as well. It's a great, having covered NASCAR and some motorsports, obviously. The Indy 500. So it's a great sports city. And the book, though, no, I'll talk about anything. I've done the dog show, the Westminster Kennel Club dog show. So, and the book is really, it's sports, and it's really more than sports because it's about people and how they react to things, wins, losses, and fans. And I can relate, obviously, to any fan because I grew up one. And when my team would lose, I'd go lock myself in the room and wouldn't come out for dinner. And they're like, Chris, you didn't play in the game. You were just watching, so let's get over it. But anyway, it led to a career in broadcasting.
And that career actually started similar to what I did. You started as a teenager in radio, right?
Yeah, calling into a radio show as Chris from Miami and then disguising my voice as Duke from North Miami to get on the air more so I could agree with my earlier call. That's how it began before. As soon as my voice or changed, which was at an early age.
So what struck me about the title and having the honor to talk with you a little bit today, Chris, that deserves a wow. 40 years and, the Olympics, the Masters, the NCAA Final Four, all of these things that you've done, you haven't been desensitized. Do you still feel like every time you're covering some historical moment, something cool, that you are in the moment realizing how cool it is?
Yeah, that really doesn't leave me anyway. And if it does, well, then eventually I should move on from it. But I think, KJ, it begins. I was a fan at heart and passionate about that. And as I kind of worked through the business, the slogan I used in my own mind was "Every night's the Super Bowl," no matter what, whether it was a local story about a high school football player or whether I was working the Super Bowl and talking to Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes or whomever. So. And I always approached it that way. And it was kind of I realized some assignments and some sports stories or events are bigger than others. But to me and to the people watching it, it's the most important thing you're going to be seeing. So I think that's kind of the approach I've always had. And so I don't lose that. And the people are always interesting. And even though you might be, this sport, I've done it already, but the people change through the years and make it really enjoyable and entertaining.
And I want to talk about a little bit of a change because you've been with NASCAR for a long time. We always love seeing you covering the races. Fox Sports is jumping in on the Indy 500. Will you be joining in? Do you know if you're going to be a part of the coverage this year?
Well, yeah, they haven't announced the actual broadcast assignments for that. And with the NASCAR schedule, and then I also do baseball, so there is some overlap. But I imagine if we're needed, they put me on different sports. We have some people from NASCAR that are terrific on the IndyCar and the Indy have been, I think, involved in the Indy 500 in the past in some ways. So, but I would love to be. Obviously, the Daytona 500 will be there right after the Super Bowl for that on Fox, and I'm glad that Fox has a chance to have NASCAR and to have the Daytona 500 and the Indy 500 broadcast, live on the same network. It's never happened before in the history of sports television. So I that's a positive thing, I think, for viewers.
Well, yeah. And, honestly, we were all, all of us football fans when they announced that Michael Strahan was going to be, the honorary driver this year. I mean, just having, just having that, like, I'm watching football and you're talking about the Indy 500 in, October. This is amazing. Like, I'm so excited for what we have going there. And I hope that we get to see you as a part of that excitement, because it is, our hometown race, and the city certainly shines.
Oh, it's a great event. Yeah, I've never worked the event, but you grow up as a kid, and these are the kinds of things, these moments of these events attract you to that sport or that kind of an event, and you kind of it's appointment viewing every year.
Chris, I want to ask you because this is it is an alternative sport that is near and dear to my heart. I'm actually a correspondent and media coordinator for the Championship Darts Corporation. And I was at the Madison Square Garden in June, and there's 7,500 people that are watching darts. Have you caught on at all to the phenomenon that is darts sort of taking over the alternative sports world?
Well, other than being at a bar in college when I played darts, or with my family as a kid. However, I did, and I don't know that I mentioned this in the book, but I did broadcast, and I had an analyst, and I had to learn it was a little bit different. It was an international dart competition that I broadcast for FS1 from Las Vegas, but it was mostly European. It was a lot of Irish and British. And I was, we started at noon, and with this particular group, I was shocked because they could drink beer at that time of day and hit their target without hesitation. I was fascinated by that, but that was many years ago, and I have not been. I've fallen into the pickleball craze a little bit when I'm traveling. It's a good workout, but no, I've not been involved in the dart craze, at least not recently.
Well, it's interesting because tickets actually went on sale today for Madison Square Garden in June. So if you can fit it in your schedule, Chris, just remember you talked to KJ and she told you darts is on its way. Okay.
I'll be glad to check it out. I'll be at Madison Square Garden with the gang for the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show in February. So maybe next stop we could try that.
That's right. Yeah, we talk about pets on the show all the time, and you've been a big part of that, and you have worked with rescue dogs. So thank you very much for all that you do in the animal world as well, Chris.
Oh, okay. My wife's very active in that, and we have a few of them in our household. I have to put a limit on that, but we help where we can.
The book is called That Deserves a Wow, and Chris Myers, having you on this show today is a big wow in my life. So thank you so much for taking a little time to be on KJ Today.
Oh, well, that's nice of you to say. Thank you, and hope you enjoy the book.
Thanks for joining me for another celebrity interview. KJ Today, where you'll find the positive vibes of pop culture, people to know, and pets. If you like this interview, please make sure you give it a like, rate, review, and subscribe, and join us on YouTube the first Wednesday of every month for the full KJ Today show, where we play trivia, bring you more celebrity guests, and even a pet of the week to keep you feeling the positive vibes.